So today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. First, we have to decide how much we want to find out.
Google was essentially promoting through its ads like rhetoric that was very like pro Kamala.
So let's say in this case you want to find out at a level of around 7.
And like it seemed to link out to like legitimate like news publication sites.
And then I bring it down all the way to number 7 on the around line. And there we have it right there in the intersection point.
It would like seem like it was an ad from PBS, but it was really an ad for the Kamala campaign or whatever.
As you can see, the more you around, the more it is that you're gonna find out. If you stay down here, if you never around, you're never gonna find out.
Well, if it isn't the world's biggest search engine and virtual monopoly, Google, openly admitting that it is setting its search algorithm to benefit Kamala Harris. Now, this is obviously something that many of us have known has been going on for many years, but to see it out on tape is obviously very interesting. Now, we know the government is currently looking at antitrust type lawsuits for Google and YouTube, given its virtual monopoly over the search engine market. I believe the number 1 search engine in the world is Google. The number 2 is YouTube. And then number 3 is Amazon. It might be YouTube. It might be Google, Amazon, YouTube. Sometimes they switch around. But essentially, Google owns two of those 3. And Amazon's just a shopping website. And what's wild is they're just saying it right out loud. Right out loud that, in my opinion, they are committing fraud in an attempt to sway public opinion. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, right? A week ago, when we saw Amazon's Alexa, when you would ask it, hey, give me a reason to vote for Donald Trump, it would say, well, I'm not allowed to compete or comment on political, blah, 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 blah. Then if you said, give me a reason to vote for Kamala Harris, it said, oh, here's 500 reasons to vote for Kamala Harris, like outright meddling in the election. This is why, I mean, big tech, why would big tech be so concerned about making sure a certain person gets elected? I mean, it could be maybe the fact that one of them is more beneficial to them in the long term. Maybe it has something to do with the Republicans constantly dragging them up to Capitol Hill and asking questions about this. The fraud is never ending. And speaking of fraud, this is my absolute favorite product, one I use every single day, Aura. Check it out. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Aura. It's rare when I get to do an ad read for a product that I use every day and that I love. And today, that's both. Aura is a product that I absolutely love, and it's really important timing to be talking about them because hackers may have just stolen, or it's now been confirmed, all social security numbers of every American. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from the national public data. And what I like about Aura is that it's actively seeking the web for any of that information to surface. In fact, it has already removed me from many websites and databases that had data from that latest breach on me in them. I had a text within hours, I believe, of the breach where they had found my data out there, and I couldn't believe how effective it is. I absolutely love Aura. If you weren't taking precautions with your personal information online before, this should be a huge wake-up call. You've never been more vulnerable online than you are right now. But I'm not too worried because I use Aura. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, my email address, my social security number, or anything like that on the dark web. They can let me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or my bank accounts. They give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. They also provide a bunch of other features to help you feel safe online. I've been using Aura for a very long time now, and I'm extremely satisfied with it. You can go to my link, aura.com/thequartering, to try it for free for 14 days. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is floating around out there on the web. I highly recommend you do it right now because not only is the national public data out there and they're not going to do anything to help you, they probably aren't even going to face any repercussions for this leak. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches, and if you don't want to either, go to aura.com/thequartering to try 2 weeks for free. I absolutely love Aura. If you haven't signed up for it, use the link in the description below. It definitely makes me feel a lot safer, and I do get notifications. Like when everybody's social security number is leaked on the internet, I actually got notification from that before I read about it. Now, oh look, the biggest search engine monopoly on the planet Earth is openly admitting that it rigs its algorithms to benefit Kamala. Now, it is undoubtedly not just on Google search, but also on YouTube. You know, it's like, it's if I put a video, like normally in a video, if I lead with Kamala Harris, it usually does a little bit better. Now that's just completely anecdotal. But like if I'm talking about, oh, Donald Trump poll, blah, 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 blah. But if I say, well, Kamala Harris panics over Donald Trump new poll, it generally does better. Now, again, completely anecdotal. Quote, Google was essentially promoting through its ads rhetoric that was very pro-Kamala, admits Dakota Lieser, a growth strategist at Google, during an undercover date with an OMG American Swiper journalist, probably a hot chick. Actually, they seem to get a lot of people with gay dudes too, so I don't know. We'll check out the video. Lieser reveals that Google has been actively coordinating with the Kamala Harris campaign, manipulating its search engine advertisements in favor of her for the 2024 election. He explains it seemed to link out to legitimate news publications on the site, so it seemed like it was an ad from PBS, but it was literally an ad for the Kamala campaign, making users believe that they're reading unbiased reports from reputable sources. Now, we know that happened. That was one of the biggest scandals of the year. Sources like, the Kamala Harris campaign was using Google AdWords to run ads that made it seem like PBS and CNN and the Associated Press and The Guardian and all that were endorsing her directly. Now, to be fair, all of those, media outlets are part of the swamp. They were endorsing Kamala Harris anyway, but they purposely deceived the consumers to think, oh, wow, The Guardian. Oh, wow, this and that. Some people who they use, some radio stations and some of that nature, they didn't like it so much. They look like they retained legal counsel. They might be suing over it. He also confesses that Google's primary objective is to generate ad revenue, but through fear-based content, explaining, I think whatever demographic is the most fearful is going to be the most profitable. According to Lieser, the left currently represents the most fearful demographic, which is why Google has been pushing pro-Kamala narratives for profit. Explaining that I think now the left is far more fearful than the right is. He further states, it's all about the share of the stock price, revealing that Google's liberal bias is not just political, but tied to financial gain. Yes, I think Google has the belief that one side will allow them to make more money, revealing Google's profit motives through driving political manipulation. Lieser's admission mirrors past media motives, including CNN's technical director Charlie Chester's claims that, quote, fear sells, reinforcing the role of big tech and media in shaping public perception through fear and bias. Now, I want to point something out here. Okay? Here's none of you are probably surprised. The old saying of, if it bleeds, it leads, all this kind of stuff, right? Everybody knows that that's true. But what I want people to keep in mind is that it would appear that not just Google, but YouTube, CNN, and all mainstream media are deliberately pushing content to make you afraid. Why? Because not only is a fearful populace more easy to control, which is what Democrats want, well, really most of government, to be honest with you, but it's more profitable because they're going to buy more stuff, right? We're gonna donate more money to Kamala because Orange Man bad. I mean, remember all the heinous stuff they said Donald Trump was going to do during 2016? They literally said that he was going to put gay people in camps. They said that as an absolute fact. Did that ever happen? No. Did he put Hillary Clinton in jail? No. Although I wish he would have. Did they, looking back, all the lawfare he's having to deal with, he probably wishes he had too. But, did any of the stuff that they said Donald was, he's going to start World War III. Gee, what's going on under Joe Biden right now? I would argue that it doesn't exactly seem that great. To me, it doesn't seem all that awesome under Joe Biden. There's one war going on in Israel, another one going on in Ukraine. There's one brewing with Iran. All this kicked off in the last 3 years under President-in-Chief, head of lettuce, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They want to keep people afraid. By the way, after this, Google growth strategist Dakota Lieser, who has now deleted his X account and deleted his TikTok videos. Just in, Google growth strategist Dakota Lieser has deleted his TikTok videos, including one where he is seen wearing Google merchandise. He has also removed it from his bio, contact information. This follows his exposure in Hidden Camera, where he admitted that Google has been coordinating with the Kamala Harris campaign and manipulating search engine ads to favor her in 2024.
Google was essentially promoting through its ads like rhetoric that was very like pro Kamala, and like it seemed to link out to like legitimate like news publication sites. So it like seemed like it was an ad from PBS, but it was really an ad for the Kamala campaign or whatever.
Meet Dakota Lieser, growth strategist and ad salesman at Google. Dakota Lieser goes on to say they're, quote, reorienting the search engine to favor Kamala Harris.
But it's like you go to Google, they're...
So this is the big part, obviously. The first part, we knew that they were buying those ads and then forcing them on people so that they would be big afraid all the time, right? That we knew about.
Reorienting the search engine such that Kamala is more, favored. Facebook, I feel like, is promoting, content that is favorable towards her. A lot of the AI stuff that's sort of like proliferating right now is doing so in a way that's like generally favorable to her.
Dakota Lieser, growth strategist at Google, reveals that, quote, Google is a very progressive company, unquote.
I don't care if your company is progressive, for example, right? I genuinely don't care. Okay. But when you are using that monopoly and you are, you're using that monopoly to sway public opinions, well, I don't really know. I'm not exactly a big fan of that. Especially since there are like no options. There are no options at all for normal people to get out there and get real information. People are mad that James O'Keefe is bringing this stuff to light. Let's not forget that, like, bro, a week ago, Steven Crowder caught somebody at the DOJ in New York outright admitting that the cases against Donald Trump were pure baloney sausage. There are many other search engine alternatives out there. I'll let you guys all sort that out in the comment section down below. I don't really have one that I absolutely love. They all, for like searches that are not politically motivated, I still think a lot of them have a long way to go. But I want to support them, and I want to, I want people to share which ones they perhaps, like. I know there's Brave, Yandex, a couple other options out there. But this is a pretty big bombshell that, I'm hoping somebody does something about. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.